Hawaii Governor Josh Green joins me now. Governor Green, my deepest condolences to you and your community. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, and thank you for your prayers. We need them, and we feel them from far away.
Well, we are sending them, and we appreciate your joining us in what is a really devastating time for you and your community. Can you tell us what the very latest is on the ground there in Hawaii, the very latest on the search and recovery efforts?
Yes, the world has activated, particularly our country. We have discovered 93 individuals who have lost their lives. We know that that number is going to increase significantly as the search and rescue operation proceeds. We've added an additional, or adding additional right now, up to 20 dogs, which will help the discovery and search team sort through the rubble. I mean, it's a catastrophic loss. It's our largest natural disaster since statehood, which was in 1959. At that time, 61 people passed away. And it's incredible what we're seeing. It's definitely like a nuclear weapon went off on Lahaina. So what can I share with you? First of all, we have all the support in the world from the president. We thank him. Within 6 hours of my request, the president activated the presidential emergency declaration. So we have all the resources that we need. We have over 416 FEMA workers on the ground. We've had already opportunities to be with the head of FEMA, and we thank Deanne for coming. We have been with the Small Business Administration as well. We're beginning to rebuild already. Today we went live. Actually, last night we went soft live, and now we're fully live with Operation House Maui, which will give us up to 2,000 housing units or hotels available for all the people at no cost. Of course, FEMA is extremely generous, courtesy of the resources of the American people, to put our people back into housing from the shelters. So we're beginning to support and do all that we can for those who have survived this crisis. We know that the loss of life is so large that it will be felt forever by our people in Hawaii. This is where we are at the moment, but there are 3,000 structures likely destroyed, and we can share any detail you like. I have obviously leaned in every way.
Governor, it's our understanding that so far only 3% of the area has been searched. Do you have a sense of the exact number of how many people are still missing?
Yeah, just for clarification, so that 3% number was what they did yesterday on the ground structures. The outdoor site, which I shared pictures with you from this weekend, much of that was already scoured by our people in our recovery. That's the main street. That's where people were found tragically deceased in cars or in the ocean. So a significant swath of the territory, that kind of mile-long front street, had been assessed. So it's a little deceptive for us to just say 3% because we don't want to confuse people. That's just 3% of the housing and structures. Those will accelerate those percentages now. You probably see it over the course of maybe 6 to 8 days, where I believe they will be able to do the full search and rescue. Let me say this, though. This was essentially a fire hurricane at 1,000 degrees. It melted some people's granite counters. It incinerated metals. So we're heartsick to imagine what we won't be able to find as far as loss of human life. I'm a physician by training in the ER, and I always saw the tragedy up in person, but not like this. And so this will be harder to reconcile exactly how many we've lost. Over the course of a couple days to weeks, though, you're going to hear these numbers go up from the 90s. It will be scores more people that have passed. And
do you have a sense of how many are missing right now, Governor?
Well, those numbers change by the hour. Okay. As of earlier this morning, about 1,300 people hadn't communicated. A lot of people dropped everything they had. Their phones were incinerated, and we're now reconnecting people as we open up the road. But it's not going to be, God help us all, if this number of 96, it was 93 very early, then it was 96 just now. Yeah. If this number rises like that, that's not what we anticipate, but we don't want to guess at anything. Like I said, when a fire moves 60 miles per hour at that temperature through a town, it was very difficult for people to escape it.
Governor, I want to ask you about the emergency alert system that residents there say didn't deploy ahead of the wildfires. I know that there has been an investigation launched into specifically what happened there. What can you tell us? What information do you have at this point about what happened there, why those alarms didn't go off?
Sure. So, yes, I called for that investigation personally. In Hawaii, we appoint our attorney general, and so that's my responsibility to ask, in this case, Ann Lopez, our attorney general, to do this full review. What normally, historically, we use this alarm system for is we use it for hurricanes, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions. In my 23 years in Hawaii, it hasn't historically been used for wildfires. I myself rode out many wildfires on the Big Island, and the siren wasn't used. We communicated. In this case, what appears to have happened was that the infrastructure was destroyed at such a great pace that we couldn't have any communications up whatsoever. And when I say you're seeing the ferocity right now in the story of the fire, when it rolled through a fire truck, it essentially incinerated a fire truck. So you can imagine what it did to power lines, telecom lines, everything. So that was one of the problems. I will never make an excuse for not having a siren go off. I'm just trying to explain better that in an era where you've got these climate change storms that go at this pace, we may all across the globe have to assess, number one, how we're going to alert and warn our people because of the ferocity of storms. And two, are we actually going to get serious about our approach to weather and protection? We probably have to change everything unless the world wants to experience these kind of storms.
Let me follow up with you on that first point. I mean, was this a failure of preparedness in the sense that there needs to be a new system in place moving forward?
Well, there will be lots of change for sure. There will be change probably as the world sees what happened to one Hawaii community. Thank God it wasn't our whole island. Can you imagine if it was the entirety of Maui, where there are 140,000 people who live here? You could easily see a superstorm consume whole islands or whole cities on the mainland if we don't prepare. So there will have to be changes in our ways that we prepare for these fire hurricanes, of course. Was it a failure? Look, I have to leave that to the comprehensive review, because for me to say any one person or group of people failed would be just, it would be unfair for me to say that right now, because everyone did all that they could in that moment. One of the challenges, if I may, was that there were like 3 or 4 major fires all going at the same time. And this fire was believed to be extinguished earlier, and then the other fires started to rage. And even now, some of this fire is going. We're about 85% contained in Lahaina, 60% contained, although the fire has not been as vicious without the winds in Kula. But we are a small state far away from everything. We're the most isolated landmass on the planet. So to all of the viewers internationally right now, this is the most isolated landmass in the world. Imagine what can happen if you are in an adjacent state that's dry, if you haven't dealt with all the needs that you might have as the planet dries even further.
Governor,
we should learn lessons.
Speaking of which, people all around the country and the world want to help. Very quickly, what is the best way that they can help the people of your state?
They should go to the Hawaii Community Foundation and donate resources if they feel they have those resources. The people of Hawaii will be here for you forever. You should still support our state, and we will support you, of course. Hawaii Community Foundation, there's making those donations will enable us to purchase the needed food and supplies. Right now, we have so much physical supply, it's difficult for us to even manage it, though we are grateful for it. So that's how I would begin the approach. I will be happy to update you as often as you need, and I can update those needs also. Also, if you have a house in Hawaii and you could add it to our program where we're allowing people to rent and stay in place so they don't have to leave Maui, or the other islands, that would be extraordinary. We will be compensating people through federal relief for that. So we know many people have that situation. And finally, just please pray for our lost ones and our firefighters and our police because what they're seeing is extraordinary.
Governor, thank you so much. We are sending all of those prayers with you and everyone in Hawaii right now. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.